Frank's Red Hot is the perfect blend of flavor and heat, so you can use an entire bottle to make recipes like buffalo chicken dip or buffalo nachos, or even things that don't start with buffalo. Frank's Red Hot, I put that on everything.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, Jeff, and welcome to Podcast versus Everyone, a very special edition we have today. We are live from Marco Polo.
We're
Bar
looking at
Grill.
each other right now.
Yeah, we're looking at each other's
so
face.
normally we are doing this via computer, right?
Yeah.
We're
interrupting each other just like on when we're recording virtually as well.
That's right. I don't have any. What were you gonna say?
No.
What?
I was telling them where we're recording from.
Okay.
Marco Polo Bar and Grill in Georgetown. A big Coug bar. Look at the King County Cougar Club flag I'm staring at right now.
King County Cougs headquarters in here.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're a Coug and you live in the Seattle area. I'm sure you've been here, but if not, you definitely need to get here. But we are joined by Matt Mira of Marco Polo. Matt, let us know something about you and about what you're doing here.
Hi. Well, thanks again for having me on. I graduated in 2002. Die-hard Coug. Go Cougs. I took over the Marco Polo back in 2006. Had some business partners in the beginning who actually started Valhalla up in Pullman.
Cool.
And so we brought some of that fun Coug atmosphere from Pullman down here to Georgetown. And so it's been about 15 years now, and we're having a lot of fun. So obviously, huge Coug bar. We're known for our pressure-cooked chicken, and on game days, this is the place to be if you're not in Pullman. That's what we always say. If you can't be in Pullman, you should be in Georgetown rooting on the Cougs.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and one thing I really enjoy about you guys is that whenever you order food, you bring out the condiments, and then there's fry sauce.
Absolutely. You got to have that fry sauce with every meal.
Yes, exactly. Like I put it on, I don't just put it on my fries. I put it on the chicken. I put it on the burgers. I put it on everything.
As one should.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so how does your fry sauce compare to the fry sauce in Cougar Country Drive-In?
It's pretty much the exact recipe, but I can't say how I got it. But let's just say it's pretty darn close. I might have changed one thing, but that fry sauce is a staple. It's funny, you can always tell somebody that it's not from or it's not been to Eastern Washington or the Palouse.
Yeah.
And we bring out the condiment caddy, and they got the ketchup and the ranch and the Tabasco sauce. Like, what's the pink stuff? I'm like, that's fry sauce.
That's the fry sauce.
Well, what's fry sauce?
That's the good stuff.
It's like a little hug from Jesus. Just got to put it on everything.
That's right. I love that. So how did how did Marco Polo come to be? How'd you get involved here? How did this become like the King County place for Cougs?
So the bar actually has been here since 1950, and we're the fourth set of ownership to have it. So George Lemire started back in 1950. Back in the day, the bar was just like this little tiny strip up front. And then over the years, there's like a Chinese restaurant back here, and there's like an office supply store. And over the years, Milo, the second owner, and then Bob, the third owner, kind of knocked down the walls and opened it up and made it into this just old tavern from, South Seattle. And so when me and my partners back in 06 came in, the intention wasn't really to make it like Coug headquarters. It was just like a cool dive bar that we wanted to kind of reinvent and transform and keep going. I mean, it had, 60 years of history at that time. Right. So we took it over, and eventually my business partners, I bought them out, and they moved on to do their other things. And it's right about that time when Cougs first opened up. Yeah. And that was like a game changer. It was all about taking care of Coug businesses.
Yep.
And so when Cougs first came in, it was like, hey, let's go to to the Marco Polo. It's a Coug-owned bar. And it literally, from that point on, about 8-9 years ago, it blew up. We went from having maybe 10, 15 people here from a game day to 200 with the line out the door.
Right.
And so we were always diehard Cougs, and we were always, all about Cougar football and Cougar sports. But it wasn't something that we ever expected to be like becoming the King County headquarters for the Cougs. And, we do a lot with the Alumni Association, a lot with the CAF. We're big on give back to the school. If you're a member of either of those, we give you a 15% discount because you got to pay to play. So, we're going to give back, but we want you to give back too. And we'll reward you for giving back. So that's a big thing for us. So
yeah, that's great. And you said that, like, definitely you guys are on my radar because of the Coug connection, because otherwise, I live in Tacoma. I just drive right on by when I'm going to the Sounders or anything, drive right on by Georgetown, right? Like, so I knew about you guys because of all the events you were doing. And, I have friends that live in Renton and come over here for all the game days, especially all the road games and everything. So, it's really cool. But one thing we got to talk about is when Nick Rolovich was first hired.
That might be the thing that, like, people that weren't familiar with you before
definitely put us on the map.
Became familiar with you. After that,
real fast that happened. It was a pretty cool experience, and I have to say he is just a great guy. Just an awesome stand-up guy.
So just tiny bit of the background if anybody didn't know what happened. So after he got hired, right, he just was doing this tour, and then he just like impromptu posted on Twitter, "Hey, I'm at Marco Polo. Come have a beer with me."
Yeah, he had sent me a message. He said, "Hey, I heard you're the Coug bar in Seattle. I was thinking about popping down tonight." I'm like, "I'm here. Let's do it." And so he showed up, and there was about a 30 or 45 minute grace period between when he sent out that tweet that he was down here in Georgetown to when the crowd showed up.
Right. Everybody got to get their shit together.
Yeah,
they got to clear it with their wife. Like, hey, it's 10 o'clock at night.
Put the baby to bed. I got to go to the bar at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
And so it was really cool. Like, he sat down. I was like, hey, you got to try our fried chicken. And he's a big Pacifico guy, so got him Pacifico. And the chicken comes out, and he literally takes, like, one bite of it. And he's like, this is the most amazing chicken I've ever had in my life. I was like, isn't it fantastic? And he's like, this is great. And literally, as soon as he puts that chicken down, you look behind him, there's just, like, massive crowd coming in the bar. And he, like, grabs a napkin, wipes his hands, like, well, time to get to work. And for the next, like, hour and a half, 2 hours, this guy worked the room, and he shook hands and took pictures with every single person in the bar.
Yep.
And then, picked up the bill. And one of the funny things was he had just closed out. We had just done the fight song, done a big group pick. It was awesome. And he's just closing out, and he's walking out the door, and another group of, like, 10 or 15 people show up. And he's like, open it back up. I got a few more people I got to make sure I hit.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Really cool guy, stand-up guy. I'm really excited to have him up in Pullman.
Yeah, that was the scenario you said of putting the kid to bed and heading up was pretty much exactly.
That was Craig's experience.
Yeah, because I got about a 30-minute drive to here, and like it was just like, all right. And I definitely was on the tail end. There was already people, but yeah, I still got to talk to him. I got a picture with him and all that. So that was a pretty awesome event.
He made a point to. I think at one point he came up to me. He's like, "Is there anybody in this room that I have not spoken to, taken a picture with?"
Yeah.
He's just really, and one of the great things about Rolovich is that I love that when you're just having a conversation with him, he wants to know everything about you. He wants to know what drives you to be passionate about Pullman, what drives you to be such a diehard Coug fan. He just wanted to know everything about the people in this building and why we are as passionate as we are about the Cougs. I think that just shows like a really good leadership quality in somebody. I mean, that's what you want as somebody leading the kids. Well,
and it's it never hurts to ingratiate yourself to a bunch of Cougs with free beer.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that's. I mean, when
you're gonna buy me a beer, I'm in.
I mean, when word started going around, he was picking up the tabs on these things because he did it a few times, right?
Yeah.
When word started going around, he's picking up the tabs on these, and people are like, I like this. I don't know if he can coach, but I like this guy, right? It's and that was all, right before COVID, right? Like that.
Yeah, it was about 2 months before
like
COVID.
2 months before.
In February, and then a month and a half later, 2 months later, we get shut down for a year. So.
Yeah, how'd you guys ride that out? Did you, like a lot of people, have to-go orders, or how'd you guys?
We did awesome. I have to say, like we were pretty blessed. We, had our entire team step up. We cranked out to-go food. We did to-go cocktails, bottles of booze to go. I had Cougs from all over that had been here. I had Cougs in New York, Cougs in Arizona, Cougs in Cali, Cougs in Texas. They were emailing me, buying gift cards,
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Online, Venmoing me money, saying, hey, we can't lose our favorite Coug bar. That's where we go for game days.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll send you out the gift cards. Like, no, don't give them to me. Give them to, like, doctors or nurses or people who don't have anything. So
that's awesome.
We had Cougs from, like, all over, which is really cool. But, yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy. It was, a year of stress and sleepless nights. But, our entire customer base stepped up, especially the Cougs. And so we did great. I'm definitely excited to be back open and get back to game days where we have 150 people in the bar cheering on and singing the fight song.
And that's where we're heading.
Yeah,
I mean, we're gonna be back there in September.
Last year it was I think it was the Cal game where like 45 minutes before kickoff the game got canceled, and we're like, I had like at that time we could only have 30 people in the bar, and they could only be outside, and we put TVs outside. So we had these three big screen TVs outside, and I had 30 people to entertain instead of like 150, and it was like, oh yeah, I got 30 people in here, and then the game gets canceled. So I mean, it was definitely a tough season, but man, we got 100% capacity going back, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be awesome.
It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
I know Craig's excited to sit in his seats.
Yeah. I'm very excited to get back in those seats. To get full capacity is going to be so fun, to be tailgating again, all that, and then be able to, go to a bar like Marco Polo when it's time for the road games and everything. So super fun. Interesting thing that you mentioned that Rolovich. We talk about beer a lot on this podcast, and so interesting that you mentioned Rolovich is a Pacifico guy, and we know that Kyle Smith is a big Modelo guy.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have some debates, in the athletic complex about what's the best cheap Mexican beer. I'm on the Modelo team. Like I'll say, if we're going to compare the two, but you go with that Pacifico.
I'm going to go Pacifico, actually.
All right.
They're pretty close, though.
You're breaking the tie here, Joe.
I can't say that I've had either of them enough to have much of an opinion.
All right.
He's going to throw out like Tecate.
Quite the politician over here.
Dos Equis? Can I get a word for Dos Equis?
I think we have some Dos Equis coasters that we're using.
There we go. Here. I'll vote for that one.
All right, so you graduated, what did you say,
2002.
2002,
Hospitality Business Management.
Yeah.
So actually using my degree.
Yeah, like I don't use my degree.
I don't use
Craig
my degree.
doesn't use his degree. No. I mean,
I do like research, and I had a history major.
But that's the point of a liberal arts education is you learn lots of things about lots of things.
And then you just like...
so definitely the things that I learned as a journalism major applied. I'm an English teacher, so they definitely apply to being an English teacher now. And so all right, so 2002. So you barely missed a Rose Bowl, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but you got some good stuff. You got the early Jason Gesser years.
Jason Gesser, great
tail end of the 97, 98 Rose Bowl, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I got up there in 98, so I missed that Rose Bowl. But we had Jason Gesser, which was a wild ride.
Yeah.
For those 4 years.
Yeah.
And then
So what's your favorite sports memory from when you were in school?
In school, I would have to say it was Dad's weekend. We were playing USC my senior year, so that would have been like 2001. Mm-hmm. And was it Drew Dunning that kicked the extra point in triple overtime?
Yes, it was.
And we rushed the field.
Yep.
It was crazy.
I remember that.
The whole group is on the field. and I'm looking around, and I can't find my dad. And I look up in the stands. My dad's the only guy in the stands. He's like,
Your
Dad.
dad's like, I'm not doing that.
He's like, how did you get down there? It's like, we jumped. We were sitting on the 10-yard line, front row. We just jumped over.
Yeah.
And he's like, so I had to go get my dad and help him down. But that 2001 USC triple overtime win was pretty epic for the best time I was in college. So.
Yeah, that was an all-timer of a game. I remember Dunning running out to the middle of the field and sliding on his
almost
knees
like you just
like
won a soccer game.
player,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yep.
And then everybody going bonkers. Yeah, that time was great. So I was in school for the 97 season, the 98 Rose Bowl. And so that was my immediate experience was that. And then obviously there were a couple of rough years after that, but then, the 3 10-win seasons. And I was just like, yeah, this is what Cougar football is. Like, I don't know about all you old time, I'm friends with Jim Moore. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like that's old timey Coug stuff, man. We're like, we like win shit now, like that's what we do. And then I learned it doesn't always.
And we
it
had
doesn't
a
always
few
stay that
lean
way.
years.
That's
when we started
Wolf
the
era,
blog, the lean
the
years.
Doba era was so.
Just
Wolf
a gradual
era.
decline into a steep decline.
Into terribleness. But yeah, we actually started Coug Center the year Paul Wolf was hired.
Okay.
So that's when we started. There was a lot of creative writing that took place.
Tough year to start some Cougar talk.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard with the teams losing by 4 to 5 to 6 touchdowns every week, and you're trying to come up with some sort of analysis that is something other than we suck. We definitely did some creative stuff.
And I remember that first year, because it was the first year. And, there's always a little bit of optimism that comes with a new coach, right? And so I just remember, thinking, they'll be all right. And I wrote this pretty famous, famous to me and people who like to make fun of me. But before the Cal game, I wrote about how they were going to contain Javid Best and who was the other? Shane Vereen.
Shane Vereen.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, they're gonna contain him, no problem. And then Cal goes on, I think beat us 66 to 3 or something, right? And those guys ran for 400 yards. And that was the point at which I went, we might actually suck. We might actually be terrible.
Didn't he get us? He did get us at least an Apple Cup win, though. I think.
He did that.
We got that 2008 Apple Cup.
That
was the Crapple Cup, as it's famously done. Yeah.
I was at that game.
I was at that game too. I definitely.
Jared Carstetter caught that ball right in front of where I was sitting.
Nice. I'd say rushing the field, we set the new bar. I don't know if it's the low bar or the high bar of rushing the field when you rush the field beating the 0-12 team.
I know.
Just because they're going to be.
Everything about that game was terrible. The uniforms were terrible. Everything was. Yeah. I mean, it was the ketchup look, right, with the candy cane stripes down the side. Oh.
We won. We have a license plate up on the wall up front there. One of my friends, she has a personalized Coug plate, and it's 0-12. And so she had to get new plates. And so she gave me, they have to renew the plate every single year. So she gave me the front plate, and it's nailed up against the bar. So anytime a Husky fan comes in, they're like, oh.
Perfect. It is the ultimate shutdown when Husky fans are running their mouths.
Just point to the side.
We've never went 0-12. So.
Even at our worst, we were never 0-12.
Yeah.
Never 0-12.
Yeah, you had mentioned to me another game, obviously after you graduated here in Seattle. As
2005.
2005, yeah.
I think we were down by 3 or 5. I don't remember the specifics, but I just remember we scored within the last, couple seconds of the game.
Yep.
And another
is that
the Harvey down the sideline
that's the Trey
game.
And Harvey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another great time of rushing the field, but this time it was dancing on the giant W.
Yep.
On Montlake.
If I remember right, that ended up with some fisticuffs
yes.
in the middle of the field. As well.
Let's put it this way. I have not been back to Husky Stadium since that game.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest games that I've been to in Husky Stadium, and the last game I went to at Husky Stadium.
Yeah, that one I was in the student, back when they had the student seating just in some rickety old bleachers at the end, the opposing students. So we were just down there, and we were kneeling at the end and we were just like starting to push down the fence, and they're like trying to tell us that we can't go on the field, and we're like, sure.
Yeah, good luck. They tried to do that in '97.
It's funny.
Well.
I have a friend that from high school. Her dad is a cop at UW, and he was just looking at us. He was looking at me. He's like, just go, like, just. He's telling his phrase, just let them have fun. Like we're not going to stop them, and so they just like they let us go through. I remember being in the middle of the pile. The UW players got mad that we had ran out and stomped it, and they started shoving. And I remember being shoved over, landing on top of like a much smaller like woman, and like trying to like protect her from getting crushed. It was that was quite a game.
I was at that game. I'd been married for just a couple of years, and we took the parking ride to the game. So I remember I didn't see any of that because I just kind of like...
You just left.
I just left and went to the bus. And, so I heard afterward about what happened at that game. And
I was,
like,
I believe, newly dating my wife at the time.
Yeah.
And she looks, she's like, I was like, I'll be right back. And she's like... So I came back, and she's like, "Oh, what am I signed up for here?" But she put up with it.
Worked out okay.
Yeah.
It's better when they know what they're getting themselves into early on.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? No surprises later.
She still brings up. I got interviewed on Sports Center by Stanford Steve at game day. Go watch the interview. It is epic. It is the greatest thing I probably should not have said, but I think my wife brings it up every now and then in marriage counseling to this day. But I'm talking to Stanford Steve, and he's like, "How important is coming back, a game day coming back to Pullman or winning an Apple Cup?" I'm like, "Winning an Apple Cup."
Yeah.
And I go on this whole spiel about how my brothers and sisters went to UW, but I was a Coug, and we're passionate. I got the tattoo on my leg, and I end it on live TV by saying, "Winning the Apple Cup is the most important thing in my life." My wife calls me and says, "I hope you're having a really great time in Pullman right now."
And just stay there.
And it was just quiet. And I get home, and she was recording this because I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be on TV later." And sure enough, she's like, "Yeah." So she posted, she's like, "That's my husband."
Yeah.
But, all right, Nick Rolovich, if you're listening. Your buddy that runs the Marco Polo bar in Seattle, you need to win an Apple Cup for him real soon.
He's going to do it.
My wife always marvels because she's like, for me, she's like, she's sort of like, I don't understand how you love something that seems to make you so miserable.
Oh, absolutely.
All the time. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
Sports, right? Yeah.
Spending 4 years in a town like Pullman, where that's all you have is each other, is what makes it passionate.
That's what
it's
I
more
try
about
to
that
explain
than
her.
anything. Yeah.
And like she's amazing. So like it's not like, but she just like I try to explain to her like it's about the community, it's about the family, it's about what it is that we do with each other, for each other. I just sort of like I'm like it's hard to describe, right? It's hard to describe. Why when the football team makes me miserable, why that's that's kind of secondary, right?
Makes winning so much better when it happens.
For sure.
Well, and I say, like, speaking of that, we were kind of talking about the basketball team a little bit before this, and we have dealt with a lot of misery lately in that, but now the last few years, we're seeing, like, we're on the other side. So you were talking about you're kind of, like, getting a renewed interest in the basketball team and how you haven't been to a game in a while, but you're excited to go this year. So how do you feel about Coach Smith, and how do you feel about the team right now?
Oh, I'm definitely excited. I think he's going to bring a lot of talent. He's bringing a lot of energy and just a new, fresh outlook on the team. I mean, I'm a season ticket holder for Cougar football, but not one for basketball. But Coach Smith actually makes you excited to go out and buy season tickets and get to those games more often. Beasley Coliseum is a great place to watch a game.
Yeah.
It's even better when we're winning. And the Tony Bennett era was phenomenal. I mean, that was after. I mean, we would go back to Pullman, and it was just like the energy in that building was great. And so, Coach Smith is bringing that. You can tell by the players he's bringing in, the way they played ball, even the shortened season last year, all the games that we won, and then the games that we didn't win, but they were like super close nail biters. And so I think I'm just excited. He's just going to bring a whole new energy to the team.
Yeah. Yeah, you are talking to the presidents of the Kyle Smith fan club over here. We are true disciples of nerdball, and yeah, like we feel the same. Like, so Craig and I at heart are basketball nerds. Like we love basketball, and we kind of probably more than most, right? And to suffer through what we suffered through before Kyle Smith arrived, and then now it's just. And I think the thing that I like the most is the way that he just seems to get the most out of everybody. So he's got this long reputation of basically his team's overachieving, right? Like whatever it is that they were projected to do, they exceed that like every year, pretty much. And so makes me incredibly excited for this year because he's, in whatever numerical projection you want to look at. They're going to be right about the bubble going into the year, like ranked like 40th, 50th, on most of those projections, computer projections. And the fact that his teams like literally always outperform those projections, like that has me incredibly excited. And that's just the sign of a really good coach, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's a really likable guy, right? Like we're really lucky right now, right, with him and Rolovich and. Just guys who are really likable and guys who are, it seems like really good ambassadors for the university.
Absolutely. And he seems like he fits great in Pullman, too.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest thing. I think in all the coaches we've had is trying to find a coach that not only is great, but wants to be in Pullman, wants to stay in Pullman, is passionate about Pullman. And I think Smith has all of that. So.
Yep.
Yeah, you had mentioned he is bringing in talent, and one issue is that he and his staff maybe are bringing in a little too much talent.
Yeah. Is there such a thing?
Is there such a thing?
I don't think there is such a thing.
But yeah, so obviously bringing in Mohamed Gay was at one point the highest rated basketball recruit, but now he's the second behind Klay Thompson again, so I don't know. Maybe Klay Thompson called up his people and got on 247's
He's like, this can't stand.
Yeah. So, but once they brought in him, they brought in Aiken from Eastern. You knew there was just going to be some attrition that we were going to see. So since our last podcast, we've seen. Andrei Akamovsky and Vova Markovetsky both entered the transfer portal, which is going to be a big hit to all the broadcasts that like to use that map to show where all the basketball players are from. Because we're losing our North Macedonian and
our Ukrainian.
Thank you. But yeah, so Vova, it probably is the one that is not as big of a surprise given kind of how many just the level of talent they've brought in at the big spots, and how Vova was kind of like a part-time player, could only play against kind of certain lineups.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he was, God love him, and we loved him, right? Like, so we had this running thing on our Coug Center Slack where, anytime Vova did something, it was Vova block or Vova slam or Vova layup, and it was like, Vova pass, it was like, so we loved him.
Vova rebound.
Vova rebound, right? Like it's, he's just this goofy, big goofy dude, right? But he became, when Kyle Smith showed up, right? Like acquiring talent was at a premium, right? We need bodies, we need dudes who can play, right? And they needed big bodies in particular because when he took over, they really, like, their biggest guy was Jeff Pollard, who is like a 6'9" guy who plays more like a 6'5" guy. And so it was like, what do you do? And so, so they recruit this, very raw 7-footer from Ukraine, right? And it was clear that, he could do some things just by being big, which is great. And the program definitely needed that at the time. But now that the program has, like the timeline has accelerated, right? I think if you talk to the coaching staff and got them, some truth serum, right? Like they would not have thought that they would be this far along in the third year, heading into the third year. I'm guessing they're probably about a year ahead of where they thought they would be, and next year they are going to, seriously contend for a tournament berth. And, so guys like Vova made sense right at the beginning. Well, now all of a sudden the timetable has completely changed. And, a guy who's a 7-footer who's very large and pretty slow of foot, can't really guard pick and roll, that kind of stuff. You pretty much have to play zone when he's in. Just didn't really make a lot of sense, I think. For the roster, he just wasn't a fit anymore. So he became a really situational player. And it's hard to carry guys who are very, situational 10-minute-a-night guys, especially when you're loading up talent the way that they are. So, yeah, it was a bummer to see him go. I'm very sad. I hope he lands somewhere and I get to cheer for him like crazy. But yeah, it's it always made sense that he would be one of the guys who got. Now Yakumovsky. That one bummed me out.
Yeah, that one was a little tougher. Because Yakumovsky, I think you and I both believe. Well, we have a deleted scene that will never see the light of day.
I know. So from our last episode, we actually talked about this, and then and we talked about how Yakumovsky is a guy that we didn't really have to worry about leaving. We didn't think, and then like literally the next morning before I could publish the show, he was in the portal.
Yeah, I believe I said he was. We had a question where I was most excited about his growth the next season. Yeah. And then
which guy are we most excited for? You picked Yakumovsky, right?
You picked FA, right?
I picked FA. Yeah. But but luckily no evidence of that exists anymore.
Yeah, I think
except on my computer.
Yakumovsky definitely had the biggest ceiling, like a big ceiling,
yes.
and I think he'll land somewhere and probably be pretty damn good, and we'll be like, oh, wish he was playing. Hopefully, we're just really good when that happens.
Like losing him, I don't think has a material impact on next season. I think about like 2-3 years from now when that's like maybe a 20 whatever point a game guy. Yeah. Wherever he is, and I think he will be that. I mean, he's a really good player, but I don't think it changes the trajectory of the team, for next year. So, yeah.
Yeah, Matt, have you followed many Cougar basketball teams where too many good players was ever a problem?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, I don't. When I was a freshman, they had quite a few good players. They had Mark Hendrickson, Dominic Ellison, Tavares Mack, Isaac Fontaine. Like there was a lot of talent on those teams.
Carlos Daniel in there.
Yeah, Carlos Daniel was a freshman. So it was like, so they had a bit of talent, not like this, not like this. Like I don't know, I'm not an old enough Coug to really know this for sure, but I presume that probably the closest comp was sort of the end of the George Raveling tenure. That's sort of my understanding, is that those teams had a lot of talent, and I think that's kind of what we're looking at here. I mean, we got guys invited to Olympic camps, right? Like we got FA went to an Olympic camp.
FA didn't make the Nigerian team, but really impressed the coaches. Yeah.
And, they've got some NBA guys.
Yeah.
The big men especially are NBA guys. So, but Deshaun Jackson, U19, big deal, big deal.
And then we were talking about Vova. You're talking about FA and Deshaun. That's where Vova's minutes are gone when you bring in Gay as well. Yeah. So that's
Yep.
You have now the athletic bigs where you can play them against anyone.
Which is what you have to have. Like if you're going to be as good as I know Kyle Smith wants the team to be, like those are the guys that like you got to have bigs like that, right? I mean, Oregon showed you that last year in the tournament. USC showed you that last year in the tournament. UCLA showed you that. Although I guess UCLA was pretty limited with their bigs. They just didn't have very many. But you got to have guys who can move. You got to have guys who can guard more than one guy. You got to have a guy who can guard a pick and roll. Like you got to have that. And you can't be, at one point in this program, you could take a guy like Vova and deal with that. But we're after 2 years, we're already not there anymore, which is like completely bonkers to think about. So. Matt, I assume you're gonna get over for a couple games this year?
Yep, absolutely. Got my Coug season tickets for football, so I'll be up there, and then hopefully make gonna definitely try to make some basketball now because I'm
Yeah.
excited for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be a good time.
And hopefully at some point you'll be getting 150 people in here to watch basketball games.
Oh, that would just be awesome to get that sort of crowd in here for a basketball game. But I think Smith's going to be the guy that does it. I mean, he definitely has the talent, the recruiting capabilities, and I think people are ready and excited to move past the Ernie Kent era and the other ones. But Smith seems
I think
like
we're still paying him for one more year, right?
Yep.
We're paying him for this year
Yep.
to not coach our team.
Ernie Kent is making $1.4 million from WSU this season.
To not coach the team.
That's a great investment. Thank you, Pat Chun. Get him out of there.
I like the idea that somebody said on Twitter, can we just take the money we're paying Ernie Kent and just give it to Kyle Smith after this year? Just add it to his contract.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You got to keep him there.
I'm not sure that's how accounting really works, but I like the idea. It's how people do their home budgets anyway.
Okay, we had a few questions, and we're not going to get to them. We'll get to them next week. But there was one, and they were worried it was going to be controversial, and they said, who has the best fry sauce?
Well, now we know it's the same fry sauce.
It's similar. I will say that ours is pretty darn good. I'm going to vote mine.
Yeah.
But if I'm not here in Georgetown, then it's definitely Cougar country.
I mean, we could hit a few. Do you want to hit a few questions? You want to
Let's
weigh
go.
in on a few
Let's do it.
questions?
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Let me pull up the questions.
I didn't even know how much time we had. All right. Oh, yeah, it's not that bad.
No, we're doing good. We are definitely
We're
below
not being as verbose
what
as
it is that we normally
are.
do. It's having a guest that actually helps a
Yeah,
lot.
we have to rein ourselves
I
in.
know, right? Okay, so hold on. Let's see. Okay. Da, 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 da.
How long?
Lots of questions about quarterbacks.
So how long until Jaden DeLaura? This is from Marcus Coote at Marcus Coote. How long until DeLaura is back at QB1?
Yeah. How do you feel about Jaden DeLaura as a quarterback?
We have another transfer that came in too, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
We got the
Jared.
Tennessee kid.
I think Jaden's awesome. I'd like to see the new guy from Tennessee
Yep.
start, and then maybe Jaden get another year of experience underneath him. But then again, I've always loved the idea of having a true freshman as a quarterback,
Yeah.
and just getting right off the bat. That's your guy. Go with it.
Yep.
Teach him
And you just watch him develop.
Watch him develop, because you know that by the second and third year, he's going to be awesome. But, I'm open for whatever. I always do fear when you start getting all these transfers in that you're going to lose the guys that you recruited.
Sure.
And so you have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
I think Gardner Minshew is obviously, a game changer for us. Came to Pullman at a time and we needed a quarterback. We had nothing.
Yeah.
And our souls were crushed. And so it was a good sign. And I think that you can't always hope to have every single transfer is going to be your saving light.
Yeah.
But I think Jaden's going to be awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I think DeLaura's probably the starter.
I don't know what we were hoping from Garantano. If you ask any Tennessee fan on Twitter, we shouldn't expect anything.
Shouldn't expect much.
They're probably somehow their ears are perking up the fact that we're talking about him right now.
We haven't even published the podcast yet.
They're gonna show up in the door and they'll be like,
they're gonna be tweeting.
Garantano sucks. They're like, it's gonna happen. But
do you know this? That Tennessee fans really hate him.
Yes, I've read a few things. Thank God he's gone.
It's
type
so
thing.
weird. They search his name to then rip on him when now that he's gone, they're still searching his name to rip on him for things that he's doing with us. And I'm like, I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah, I think we had more Tennessee fans watching the WSU spring game.
Yeah, than WSU fans.
Than
probably.
WSU fans. Yeah.
I do know that the reporting out of spring practice. So I remember when Minshew showed up, and he had the reporting out of spring or fall camp, and it was there were heavy hints being dropped that Minshew was the guy, that he was outperforming people, that he was really kind of taking the lead. There was not any of that this spring, which was sort of concerning, right? DeLaura's gone. You've got, I mean, he's not gone, but you know what I mean. He's not practicing.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got him and you've got Garantano and Cooper kind of doing their thing, and it's like, you know, neither one of those guys seem to really light it up. So I think in that, if all things being equal, I think they probably go with the young guy. But you know, look, I mean, Garantano could. I mean, who knows? Like, you know, more time goes by, he learns more stuff, he practices more things. Like, you know, who knows? Maybe he takes that reign, and his talent is undeniable, and I think that's part of why Tennessee fans are so damn bitter.
Yeah.
You know, he definitely has always had the talent, but they always sort of painted him as a guy who struggled between the ears, and you know, maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I don't know, but I would love to see him be successful, if only to stick it to all those assholes in Tennessee, for sure.
Yeah, that would be a pretty fun season if he was just tearing it up and like all these. The Tennessee fans start waning in the mentions, but but I think, you know, if my gut says Delora will be QB1 on September 4th at 8 p.m. So that's my feeling.
So Greta Turnbull at Thalasso Greta. It's sort of a tangential question, right? What are the odds we see someone other than Delora, right? So, Matt, if you were going to put odds on it, what would you say are the odds?
I'd say slim. I mean, you might see Cooper, but I just don't think he has the talent that Jaden has. I mean, from everything that you've read about Jaden, he has the talent, he has the arm. He's obviously been with the Rolovich kind of scheme of things.
Yeah, he's run that offense in high school.
Since high school. So I can't see anybody be ahead of Jaden unless it's, you know, maybe a maturity issue. You know, obviously there's some things in the off season. So like, hey, maybe you need to sit back and take a year to watch a 10-year player play and learn something about, you know, how to handle and compose yourself. Yeah. But I honestly don't see how Cooper's going to beat out Jaden.
So, Craig, if you were going to put percentages on it, what would you?
Thank you.
What would be your percentages?
I gotta commend this service.
We just got beer refills.
He just got 2 fingers to the 2 fingers got us 2 more beers.
Yeah.
So that was great. Having Georgetown.
I want to make sure you guys don't go thirsty here.
No, that's definitely not.
We're Cougs here. We got to make sure you always have beer in front of us.
I got a Bodie. You got a Rogers.
Rogers Pilsner. We got the Georgetown, the local beer.
Hell yeah.
But now I forgot your question,
Okay,
Jeff.
what percentage? What percentage would you put on the quarterback? So I would go like 60% Delora, 35% Garantano, 5% Cam and Cooper.
Yeah, I'll go a little higher on Delora. I'll go 70%, 29% Garantano, 1% Cam. So, yeah. You got to give him. He was an Elite 11 four-star quarterback. At some point, Cam and Cooper might
that talent's
explode.
In there somewhere.
Well, I think Cam Cooper was a great quarterback when you had a coach like Leach and the offense that he was going to run and the team that was built there.
Yeah.
When he was brought into the team.
Yeah.
But things have changed, like we were talking about with basketball. Your players evolve, your team evolves, things have changed. It's just like, you don't really fit in. It's kind of like Gunnar Cruz. Didn't really fit in.
Well, and he was, Cam and Cooper was an air raid quarterback, like back to like middle school.
Yeah.
Air raid quarterback. Like he was in an air raid system in high school. So yeah, maybe the switch to the run and shoot has been more challenging for him than.
There's a lot. We've talked about there's a lot more vertical throws in the run and shoot.
And he doesn't have the strongest arm.
And it's different. The reading the defense is a little different. You do a lot more post snap than you do pre snap and stuff. So, yeah.
All right, let's see. Are there any more questions? Oh, the transfer that we are most excited about. That question comes from Banjo Delicious. That's a hell of a name. Banjo Delicious.
That is a great Twitter name.
I wonder where it came from.
That would be quite a story. So, tell us where that came from, Banjo.
So I am most excited probably for CJ Moore. I think he's the most excited. He's going to be one of your starters, a wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's a vertical threat.
Absolutely.
He's a really interesting dude if they can get him the ball. They had trouble in the spring game getting him the ball. It's a spring game. Who knows? Outside receivers were not super impactful in the fall either, right? Delora seemed to really default to throwing to Harrison Bell a lot.
Yep.
So, but Moore is definitely the guy to me who's most exciting. I don't know what you guys think.
That's where I'm at too. Honestly, like because you have a lot of transfers on the defense, but they may or may not play.
May or may not play.
But
if we're talking about exciting, the question is exciting.
Exciting, right? Yeah. Like, so is it exciting to
wide
think about?
Wide receivers are exciting.
Yeah, wide receivers are exciting.
Middle linebackers are not exciting.
Yeah, especially maybe a guy that can stretch the field and make big plays. That's pretty exciting. So CJ
Sorry
Moore.
to middle linebackers who are listening.
Yeah, the middle linebackers.
Yeah.
I was going to cheat and say, like, Calvin Jackson because he was a transfer at some point.
He was a transfer once upon a time. Jalen Watson was a transfer.
Yeah, Deion McIntosh was
McIntosh
a transfer at some point.
Yeah.
You know, I guess if you were really fully in on Jared Gorentano,
yes,
that would be your person because he's the quarterback. But again, I think we just gave our percentages, and none of us believe. You know, we're all kind of leaning towards.
I think people are excited about him because of the idea of somebody transferring from. An
SEC school.
SEC school. We got this SEC quarterback.
Yeah. Former 4-star kid.
Yeah, and it's like, that doesn't always mean you're going to have...
No, it doesn't.
We've seen some bad QB play in the SEC.
Yes. Yes, we have. All right. Do you have any thoughts on your exciting transfer, your most exciting I know you don't have a roster in front of you.
I'm going to agree with you. I'll have to go with that.
All right. Last one, Craig. Last one. Maybe this one. I don't know. Are you watching the Euros? Are you a soccer fan?
Oh, today, yes.
Okay.
I got it on every day at the bar.
Okay. So Tim Huddleston at Huddlestron asks, "Is it coming home?"
Fellow Tottenham fan, right?
Fellow Tottenham fan Tim Huddleston asked, "Is it coming home?" And he asked that before England beat Denmark today.
But didn't he ask? I'm pretty sure he asked it after England got the penalty shot.
He might have. I don't know.
I don't know.
The timestamp on it is a little vague.
I don't think you've seen it.
So he sent the question at 2:18. So that
I think that was right after.
That probably would have been.
The game had just ended.
That probably
Or it was right after Kane.
Yeah, that's probably
Kane missed the penalty, got a very fortunate rebound and scored.
All right, no, because 2:18. So I left my house at 1:30. Or 1:45, and that was about right at the end of regulation.
Yeah, so that was about,
So that would have been right about then. All right, Tim, never mind. I don't give you credit anymore. Because you asked that question after England.
Is it coming home, lads?
Yes. Is it coming home?
They got to be Italy now.
I think so. Italy doesn't scare me if I'm England.
Well, the only
thing that scares me is that they choke.
The guys that England has on the bench, like...
Jadon Sancho,
Rashford, and Jadon Sancho. Grealish,
can you believe it?
Grealish started
Sancho
on the bench.
And Marcus Rashford can't get into the starting 11.
Neither can Jack Grealish.
I know.
These are like $80 to $100 million
loaded,
players.
Man.
The
team is loaded.
Well, at least in the attack they are.
Yeah. Thoughts on England, Italy?
England.
Yeah.
It's coming home. That's what we're saying, Tim.
I think it is coming home. I think it is. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest.
So shout out to Tim again. He sent me a Spurs kit that he had spare when we decided to become Tottenham fans, and then he also sent me the black and green Sounders kit when I was complaining that I could no longer buy it online. So
that's awesome.
Tim, you're great, and sure, it's coming home. It's in Wembley.
Sure,
I feel like. Other than there's just, England screws things up sometimes.
I know that. So I'm almost rooting for chaos, man. like if they lose that game, and I'm almost kind of hoping for the most embarrassing way possible.
The most England football
the most England way possible. That might be kind of fun to watch. Yeah. I don't know. Pain, maximum pain. I don't know. I have nothing against England, but that's cool. I don't know. They got so much talent, man. It's embarrassing.
They have a lot of fun players that don't even play.
I know. It's embarrassing. They took my precious Sancho away, so...
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway. All right. So, I think we better wrap this up so we can get some of that famous chicken before we head off to the Sounders.
I need some chicken and some JoJo's and some fry sauce.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah. All right. You want to do all the end stuff there?
Yeah. So, I don't know if you have anything else to say, to plug. Marco Polo?
Nope. Just come down here and... have some chicken, some fry sauce, drink some Georgetown beer, and
how early do people have to get here if they're gonna show up for a game?
For game days,
to make sure they can get in the door.
About 2 hours before the game is to get yourself a seat.
That sounds like a party.
About 2 hours, and then there's a line outside waiting. So It's definitely a fun time.
Well, you did the outside TVs during COVID.
We did. I think
we're
we're
do that in the
I
fall.
think we're bringing it back this
love
year.
it.
We got a bigger outdoor area because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we got more tables out there. Probably going to be bringing the TVs back outside.
Awesome.
And then, we got 15 TVs inside. So we're definitely excited.
Yeah, we are surrounded by TVs.
Yes.
We're definitely excited to get everybody back here. And every single TV will be on the Cougs
That is awesome.
during the Coug game.
We'll have to come up here and do another show.
Absolutely. But yeah,
That'd be
just love to have
fantastic.
everybody out.
Like
and,
4 hours before the game.
Yeah. What time do you open?
we open at 11, but if there's a Coug game earlier, we always change our hours to accommodate. So we have a lot of night games this year, though.
Oh, man. That 8 p.m. one to start is killing me
Labor Day
already.
weekend,
Yeah.
8 p.m. That's going to be a long
I'll be
night.
in my basement
Yeah.
watching the game.
I'll be
on my
in
television.
Pullman.
There you go.
I think I'll be at USC, though. I've already booked the Airbnb. My wife doesn't know this yet.
Oh,
She's going to find out if she listens to the show.
Oh, if she.
Oh, there's one other thing I got to do. I found out that my son listens to the show.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
So I have a 14-year-old son.
Okay.
And apparently he found the show on Spotify or something. So Joshua, hello. Thank you for listening to the show. I know you think it's very cool that I have a podcast, so I thought you would think it was fun that I mentioned your name. So hi, Joshua. Don't swear like I do on the show. You got to get older before you can do that.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Matt, for
Hey,
joining
anytime.
us.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I
And-
appreciate it. It's been
and
fun.
always go to Marco Polo to watch Cougs or just to get that Coug burger with Cougar Gold cheese.
Cougar Gold.
If
The
you're
other
not
thing
feeling the fried chicken,
Yeah.
We have Cougar Gold cheese on our menu. We put it on our cheeseburger. It is awesome with the
it
slice
is
of ham
awesome.
and fry sauce.
And fry
Fantastic.
sauce.
Fantastic.
All right.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.